This episode is entirely about how to step into your power in spite of the discomfort that it brings to other people. Okay. And why this is so important now? Well, it's more important than ever because that's what we have to do as individuals in order for humanity to reclaim our place in the universe, right? Because when we're in a fully conscious state of being, right? So in between lives currently as souls, we have full conscious awareness of existence, everything in existence, how it works, who we are, why we're here, but also why everybody else is here. We have full awareness of it. So we don't waste time on conversations like, so what do you think it is? Or, so what do you think your purpose is? Oh, I don't know. Maybe yours is this. We don't waste time on that. We have conversations that are completely based on recognition of who the other person or soul is. Well, they're fully recognizing who you are. There is no discomfort because there's no competition. There's no discomfort because there's no judgment. It just is. And we fully embody, again, another universal energy, which is respect. So we embody respect for each other and complete recognition. Okay. And so we come to this place now in evolution, and we're not that way, right? We have zero intention on a regular basis to respect ourselves, let alone any other human. But more than that, until the word they're using is until we grieve, okay? Because this is what's really happening, right? Grieving is recognition of something lost. And we have lost our connection to ourselves, our connection to who we are, and our awareness, right? Like it's not just the connection, it's the awareness. So there's a reason you want to know things about yourself. It's natural to want to know because that disconnection feeling, right? That piece that makes you feel alone all the time, it actually comes from you not being able to connect with you. Why is that happening the way it is? Okay. Why can't we connect with ourselves, with our soul, right? With the universe? You can't connect with something you don't believe exists. That's what it comes down to, right? If you don't believe your soul exists, if you don't believe that the universe exists or that you can consciously communicate with the universe, that you can consciously connect with the universe to receive the information you want, if you don't believe that you can consciously connect with your soul and receive the wisdom that you want, then you can't do it. That's really the piece that makes us feel so disconnected, right? That piece that craves not only connection, but meaningful experiences in your life. And so what they're sharing, so it's not just the first stream or second stream angelics rather, who the second stream angelics are responsible for creating experience. Okay. So a lot of people will refer to them as, bringing the light into existence. Okay. Now, how does that even work? So they want to start with talking about the sun. Okay. So the sun is, and this is really important because it will help you understand the relationship between all aspects of creation. That's why they're talking about this. So the sun, our sun, the sun that lights our solar system, which is, a tiny minuscule part of the universe itself, our solar system, right? And so our solar system is created, so you can feel the energy here. So the first angelics created the system itself. Okay. So they created, and this is really cool because they didn't create the whole thing first, right? They created each aspect. So what was created first in our solar system was the sun. Right. You can feel him. So even Father Son is here. It's lovely. So he says he came first in our, right, solar system. Why? Well, because the the aspect of creation, the beingness that comes first is the grounding force. Okay. So grounding force is, it's like central force, right? And so what happens is everything else occurs in relation to the grounding force. This is important because it's going to grow. So if in the solar system, okay, our grounding force is the sun, it doesn't mean he's in control. Okay, this is important. It means he's the grounding force, which means we come back to that sense. Like when you go off and you become out of balance, he's the one who can bring you back into balance in this solar system. Okay, solar system, period. So if you're looking for balance on a physical plane, okay, he's a good one to converse with. That's what he's saying, the way he's saying it. It's very cool. If you're looking for a soul level balance, right, understanding and restoring that balance, it would be a different being. But we're not going to go there right now. What we're talking about and what they want to help you understand is grounding force is the result of the first stream angelics, okay? So when they began to create matter, so matter is it's a process. They're showing me as I'm sharing it. So it's a process of charging a variety of particles to ensure they relate to each other in a very specific way. Okay. So this will, and what they mean by that, this determines if it becomes a gas, if it becomes a liquid, if it becomes a solid, if it becomes a sound, if it becomes like all the pieces of the story, okay, are encoded at the foundational level. So, yeah. So either, and also like Father Son is sharing, he didn't get lit up, right? It wasn't the light that came from him as a result of the second stream angelics, right? That was already a part of who he was, because when the first stream angelics created him, right, they created an aspect of existence that, oh, this is good because they're going to put it in very specific words. Their intention for Father Son was to create an aspect of existence that could not only like be the foundation for a greater experience, but that he would be able to propel his energy to to the limits of that, like of the solar system. But the solar system, yes, but their way they're saying it is to propel his energy to the limits of the creation itself, like that created existence itself. And so his job was to then explore his potential inside of that experience. Okay. So in the experience, he has learned, right, as we do as souls, because that's what we come in. We're explorers. We're here to learn. And so he has learned how to evaluate situations based on energetic flow. So the flow of universal energy. Okay. And so as a result, he then determines if he needs to shine more brightly. And again, these are very simple terms. Okay. But shine more brightly, but also he has the potential to reach out. Now, science will describe those reaching out as solar flares and different things in that in that part of existence, really. But what he's saying is his energy is reacting to, it's like the way they're saying, it's like centrifugal force, which I'm probably not even saying that correctly, but it's that, right? Universal energy is in constant movement, and it's in constant motion, in a circular motion. And so he is like, solar flares are in reaction to the energy in the universe itself. Okay. So in part 130, we talked about, they're showing me, right? So we talked about how to react from external triggers to internal triggers. So he is internally reacting, right? So this is not a mental reaction and an emotional reaction. He is feeling where his song is out of balance with the universe and he needs to give it more. So that's what he's doing. Okay. And so it's just like that surge of energy, right? Like if all of a sudden, if you're running somewhere, right? If you're in a race and someone starts to catch up with you and you realize, I've got to put more into this, right? So there's a surge of power, but it's understanding when you have that surge of power, you don't just propel yourself forward, your heartbeat increases, right? Your experience, like it takes more energy to participate more, right? In a state of giving more. And so that's the reaction. So when a solar flare reaches out and touches Earth, what's really happening is Father Son, he is putting more into his experience. And then the after effects are the result of him coming back into balance with existence. Okay. So it's not that he did anything wrong. It's that he recognizes, oh, we need some more over here and we need a little bit more over here. Right. And so this is the thing that science has a hard time making room for, making space for, because in science's mind, there's an equilibrium and everything remains flat in that one direction. It's very simple. It's very clean. It's very clear. And the reality is that's not how existence works. And this is the greatest challenge that we have with science, is because science wants to bring information down into its plane of existence so it can make sense in the world that science understands. But existence isn't created that way. Existence is created to consistently expand, to push its boundaries, to push its limits, which means it will never be equal. It's not about, going out of bounds here, but make sure you come back into balance and make sure that it looks the same. It means balance is always changing. It's always shifting based on the collective intention. This is super important, okay? This is why humanity has been trained to have a collective intention of anger, resentment, judgment. Why? Because what happens is that energy is in a constant state. It can be controlled. It can be manipulated. When we're in a state of flow, right? Universal existence, there is no constant. There is no constant. And this is the part where your brain is like, but what? No, there's no constant. There is what is in the moment. And it's not about bringing yourself back to where you were, right? It's always recognizing that your goal is to rebalance in this moment. Because what you explored 2 days ago, 2 years ago, who you were 20 years ago, is not who you are today. And so your balance can't be on the same plane. It's not even possible. That's the whole point and reason of existence. And so what happens when humans, when beings, okay, because we are soul beings. So when we use our energy in a way that consistently tries to track our growth, right? Track it. Let me track it and bring it back to center, back to center, back to center, right? And with this belief that there is one equilibrium line. It's kind of like the equator on the earth, right? It's deemed this is exactly where the center is, and this is exactly how the center needs to perform for me. So when you're looking for that sense of calm, that sense of balance, and you believe that it comes from a place where you used to be, then you can't actually grow. You can't actually move forward. Okay? And so what this means on a bigger scale, okay, is in order for you to come into your power, in order for you to recognize, right, that you have to, in order for you to come in your power, you have to recognize that you are on it's like a projection, a track, however you want to say it. It doesn't really matter, but it is constant growth. It's constant renewal. Okay. So feel the difference, right? Renewal is, you can feel it. It's constant recognition of self, right? And we've been taught, don't do that. Don't focus on yourself, focus on everybody else. Do all the things for everybody else so that your day is so full, you have zero time for yourself, zero time for renewal. You know, this whole movement of self-care, and this self-care is so important, and we're going to sell you this and we're going to sell you that because this is important, and go do this thing and go. No, it's the renewal that you need. Okay. And so I can see, because at the beginning, when they were saying, you know, the second stream angelics coming into their power, right? So I literally saw an angel, but it was dark. So it was like black. So darkness. So there was no, and here's the thing, okay? The dark and the light in this specific example is because when we don't recognize who we are, when we have zero, you know, personal, what's the word? When we have zero personal awareness, we cannot allow ourselves to be lit up, right? And lit up has nothing to do with light. It has everything to do with personal, I can't get the word. It's not reflection and it's not resurrection. It's an R word. It's so funny. It's just like gone. So ultimately, that's what they were showing, right? So this angelic, and he was folded in on himself, and his wings were folded. You know, it was like, if you're familiar with yoga, it was child's pose. And, you know, but his wings were then also wrapped around him. And it was just like, I'm going to hide. I'm going to pretend I am not here, but I'm going to pretend that I'm safe, right? Because if we remain hidden, we're safe. So this is where much of humanity is at this stage, okay? Is if we don't recognize ourselves, we're safe. If we don't, recognition, that was the word. So if we don't hold personal recognition, okay, then we're safe, but we're in the darkness. So we're hidden. We cannot be in our power. And this is the duality, right? Like humanity, we're fighting against ourselves. It's not fighting against out there, right? Everyone's thinking that this is a huge war against the governments and, you know, those who are in leadership positions and trying to control us. But it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with who you're being in the world. And if you're hiding is not recognizing your power. That's hiding. When you're angry at everybody else, you're actually still hiding. You're not doing anything. You could be out there in the world, you know, leading an army of anger, resentment, hate, telling everybody what needs to change, what the government needs to do, but you're still hiding. You're still not recognizing your power, because your power doesn't come from anger, resentment, judgment, fury even. Your power comes from the truth, recognizing the truth of who you are, who you were created to be. But not only that, It's who you're participating in at this moment. And if you're choosing to participate in anger and resentment and calling it truth, you're not participating. That's anger is not truth. Resentment, not truth. Judgment, not truth. So that's you still hiding. You cannot come into your power, right? This is the power that we're talking about. It's not power over others. It's the power to stand in the universe as a being who consciously has the ability to participate and create change. You can't create change with anger, which is exactly why they taught us to be angry, judgmental, right? We are an entire planet that is based on judgment culture. Where'd that come from? Because it's not universal. In fact, it doesn't exist. If every single human for one moment didn't focus on any aspect of judgment, it would cease to exist. It's trickier. It's trickier than you think. It was, I don't know, maybe 5 episodes ago when we were asked to get through 24 hours with no judgment. It's tricky. It's tricky. It sneaks in when you don't even notice it's going to sneak in. And that's the whole point right now. We are in this battle for our lives, battle for existence, for truth to come out, for us to be in this state of purity and joy, compassion and respect with ourselves and others. But if we don't recognize that true change doesn't come from being angry, we're never going to get there. The angelic, so he's showing me in order to stand up, right? He's in that child's pose position. He's got his wings wrapped around him and he's in the darkness. In order, and darkness just means we can't see the truth. Okay? That's what darkness is an unwillingness to recognize the truth, right? Because existence isn't dark and light. It's not exactly it's not black and white, dark and white, or dark and light rather. It's a recognition of existence itself. And so there's a lot of miscommunication about, things like the dark night of the soul and being willing to see the darkness in you. It's really not quite that dramatic as people want you to think it is. It's really actually quite simple. In order for you to recognize the truth of how you feel, the truth of how you're existing in the world, how you're participating in existence itself, is being able to feel your connection to your soul, to yourself. It's being able to feel, and if you want to go deeper, you can go into feeling your connection with the universe. But just start with your soul, okay? If you're new here, 100%, just start with your soul. Why? Because your soul knows everything about you. It knows, right? And I say it because it is a part of you, right? But it's the part you've chosen to not listen to. So when you're hiding, right? It's like a child or an adult when we don't want to hear something, right? And we put our hands over our ears and, and we just go, no, 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 right? When someone's talking to us. Well, that's ultimately what has been created, right? As an illusion where we can no longer connect and communicate with our soul, right? It's like, everything in this world that we currently live in the society, okay? Society is a distraction to connection. And so as a result, we are consistently feeling empty, lonely, right? It's like, we have love, we have experiences of love, we have family members that we love, we do things that we love, but there's still feelings of loneliness. There's still feelings of this isn't enough, or there's still feeling that something's missing. What is it? I don't know exactly what it is, but it's missing. It's just not. And what you're craving is fulfillment, right? It's an energy of participation as a whole, right? Fulfillment is recognition that all of you participated in existence, not just the little part of you that you were like, okay, this is good. I'm going to keep the rest of me safe over here. That's the difference. Okay. That's what coming into power, into your power, that's what that means. It means that you participate fully. You don't hide. You don't try to keep parts of you safe because you're worried someone's going to find something out about you. But also, you begin to understand that the things you didn't understand about you, they're there for a reason. They're there because they're meant to propel you into your greatness. Okay? And it's not needing, okay, this is the most important part, is when there are things that you don't understand about your greatness, you have to stop using your idea of what greatness is. That's your equilibrium line. You have to let it go. Because again, that in you creates a static foundation, a foundation that has no room for growth or movement, right? That right there, that's what judgment is based on. It is literally based on if we can make you believe that you are supposed to be this way, then you will never want to leave that way. Because that's where you're going to perform from. That's where you're going to make your choices from. That's where you're going to get your ideas, right? You get these beautiful inspirations and then you bring them back to your equilibrium line. The equilibrium is the core beliefs that you have with the universe. And it's time that you expand your core beliefs. We need to bring you back to that place where you exist, right? You exchange who you are and what you're capable of with the universe itself. Why? Because then the universe expands and you expand. And together it's a collaboration that feeds existence itself, and all the other beings in existence get to participate. That's how you get inspirations, because you see things that other people are doing and you're like, yes, I want to do that, but I'm going to throw in some of this, or, oh, that's so cool. Or you see somebody else and you're like, how is nobody doing this? What's missing here? I know what's missing. And so right now, right, this is why so many things look the same, right? Everyone's got, if you want to have a healing, you want to do some healing, you want to have a healing retreat center, right? There's an equilibrium line of what that looks like, what people will do, how much people will pay, where they'll go, what they want to experience. There's nobody going outside, coloring outside the lines of what healing looks like. Very few. And there's different ones, right? Then there's modalities. Again, modalities, this is how they work. This is how you do it. This is where you go to have those experiences. It's the same thing with writing, with books, with, we have to let go of this equilibrium line because it's a false sense of existence. And that's what Father Son is really wanting to help you understand, right? He's constantly moving. He's constantly evolving. What does that mean? Well, that means that everyone who's in relationship with him not only has the opportunity to constantly evolve, they have to constantly evolve. Otherwise, the relationship won't work. Now, do you see why things aren't clicking so much in the solar system itself? Right. Because humanity is like, no, we're going to keep the control of this. Okay. Now, it's not all of humanity. It's those who are in control of humanity right now. How does that even come to be? Well, you'll have to listen to the first 130 parts of the story of creation to really understand how all that came to be. Because now what we're really focusing on is how to move forward, right? And so ultimately, right now, they want you to just take a few breaths in, okay? And allow yourself to get comfortable with the energy of movement, but also the energy of balance. So just feel the two. They're partners. They love to work together. But it is recognizing that balance isn't a static state of being. It's not solid. It's not the same. Balance is consistently moving and changing and evolving. It's exactly how it was meant to. It can't be static. Just like you can't be static. You can't stay the same. You need to consistently be expanding. What does that look like? How do you do that? Well, start asking questions, but allowing yourself to get the answers, allowing yourself to experience and receive the information that wants to come back, right? Those answers are all around you. They're in the experiences that you're having. So when you ask to know more about who you are and why you exist, right? You know, on a regular basis, when we our back is against the wall and we're facing the greatest challenges of our life, and we're saying, why is this happening to me? And then a whole bunch of experiences will happen, but it'll start with one. And you'll be like, oh, that's really uncomfortable. Now this is happening too. I can't believe this is happening. Oh my gosh, this is happening. Why is everything happening? Always happened to me, right? Well, the universe is talking to you. Those dreams that you wake up from and you're like, what the heck was that? That was so intense. It was like I was right there. Whether it was a positive reaction, whether it was a negative reaction, whether it was confused or fearful, whatever it is. All again, your soul giving you the answer to you asking, why is this happening to me? And you hiding. You're literally in child's pose, wings wrapped around you if you had them, which many of us do. But you're literally in that little ball hiding from the information that's going to answer your biggest questions. And why do you hide? Because you're scared to know the truth about who you are. You're scared. And why would you be scared? Because someone somewhere drilled it into your head over and over again. Who you are doesn't matter. Come over here and do this because this is what matters more right now. We got to get this done. You got to do this. You got to get this done. Put your hand down. You can't have a question now. Right? That's how we've been treated. And it's not because those people that did that to you were out to get you. They didn't realize that they were part of a bigger system that was designed to control your emotions and your reactions to yourself and the world around you. And so in order for you to come back to what matters and what's important, you have to begin to feel the truth. Let yourself recognize that you're not looking for a way to just be happy, because that's not balance. It's not balance at all. You're looking for fulfillment. Fulfillment embodies recognizing who you are, recognizing why something happened to you, but not dwelling on it, allowing the wisdom to come out of it, right? When we dwell on something, we sit in the darkness and the depths of the pity that we have for ourselves, right? Why did this happen to me? There's no wisdom in that. The universe can't talk to you when you're in that state, when you're angry and you're frustrated and you're resentful. But when you start to get curious, when you start to wonder, why did that happen to me? When you start to recognize that you chose your life, right? And you allowed yourself to come into these experiences knowing that every single experience that you're having and that you have had was strategically designed by you, by your soul, okay, to bring you back to greater awareness of the truth, to surrender to your power so that you can actually begin to reveal it. So going from that child's pose, hiding position, to standing up, to owning who you are, owning it. It doesn't mean you need to prove it. It means you allow it to shine through you, from you, into the universe, into the relationships that you're having. Because you're having a relationship with Father, Son. You're having a relationship with Mother Earth. You're having a relationship with the entire universe, including the people that live in your home and in the space with you, including the people you work with. You're having a relationship. I'm having a relationship with every single being who, from the time that this is recorded to the time that it disappears, its whole lifetime. So I'm holding energy and space for that entire experience. That's being in your power. It's being able to recognize, there's a word they're using. It's the distance that you have to travel as a universal being, but it's recognizing that when you go from A to B, okay, and you're moving, you're not just in one place, right? You're in the past, you're in the present, you're in the future, but you're in all of them at the same time. And you remain constant in each one. So, in order to embody and restore balance, you need to be in a place that recognizes that your energy will constantly be changing, because all of you as a collaboration, all the parts of you are all participating at the same time. This is big stuff, but it's also understanding that it's actually really, really simple. And when you allow that truth to come in, then you begin to honor the energy, the awareness, the potential inside of you. And when you can do that, then, only then, can you then honor it in others. You can then honor it in the people that you know. You can honor it in the plants and the animals and the air and the water. And then you can honor it in the planets, all the planets in the solar system and the sun. And then you can go even further and you can go into other aspects of universal existence, other beings, extraterrestrials, all of that. It's all part of it. You're a part of everything. But past, present, and future does not mean past you only in this life when you were a little tiny human, or future, what you're going to be doing next week or in 20 years from now. No, that's not what future means. Future is understanding it's your potential and where you're meant to go in existence. And past, all the way back to the moment you were conceived in existence. And then from there, you can connect with existence and explore existence's path to existence, which is actually really, really cool. But just start. Start today by feeling the energy of the truth in you that wants to be revealed, okay? And understanding that your balance is going to have to change. Your equilibrium point, give it a break. Stop needing to come back to center so that other people are comfortable, so that you're comfortable, so that you don't rock the boat in your world. Let it change every single day, just for a week. See what happens. Say yes to all the things that feel good. Say yes to the things that challenge you and scare you. Say no to the things that don't feel right because they're not a part of your story. Start to see what happens. Start with little things. What you want to eat, what you want to wear, how you want to travel. Just change little things, but change them in alignment with what feels right for you. When you stand in your closet tomorrow morning and you go, okay, stand in your closet, in front of your closet, in front of your, whatever it is, when you're going to get dressed. Instead of going, I'm going to get this because, close your eyes. Close your eyes and go, how does my soul want to be reflected in my life today? Just feel the energy. Whatever vision comes, put it on. Have the courage to put it on in spite of whatever your brain tells you. See how it goes. Now, if you have to wear a uniform at school or at work or wherever you have to be, maybe put it on after or before, but there's always something that can be there. Okay? Give it a shot, guys. Because here's the thing. Until you get comfortable with the concept that balance is ever changing, you can't step into your power. This is the first step. Okay. Thank you. I love you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. I'm Michelle Vickers. Bye for now.